at the French newspapers. I'm joined here in the studio by Florence Villeneuve, our press reviewer. Good morning. Take us through the French newspapers, then a lot of focus on the French budget that's been announced.
That's right. The government presented this 2014 budget at the cabinet meeting yesterday, and it's getting a lot of criticism from both the left and the right. For once they can agree on something, and that's that they don't like the budget, even though they don't like it for different reasons, as we'll take a look. Let's start with Libération that takes a look at this on the front page. It says that austerity is on the rise, even though it does point out that unemployment is dropping, but it's very critical of this 2014 budget, and it says the government isn't being honest because the truth is that it's households, and especially the middle class, that are going to foot the bill here. Households will see an increase in taxes worth 11 billion euros, but it's unfair because businesses will get a tax cut worth 12 billion euros. The Libération says this is very unfair, and so does L'Humanité, which is the communist newspaper. On its front page, it has a quote by Victor Hugo, which says, "The paradise of the rich is made out of the hell of the poor." So quite a cutting quote there. And in its editorial, L'Humanité says that the government is walking on its head. Not only are these businesses going to get a tax break, but also they're going to get government investment. So basically, the government is going to be pumping money into businesses that it will have taken from households.
Okay, so that's lots of criticism from left-leaning newspapers to the socialist government, so I can only imagine what the right-leaning newspapers must be saying.
That's right. Well, L'Opinion, the pro-business paper, says that this budget is a catastrophe. This budget is out of control. It doesn't respect any of the government's commitments, namely that 2014 would be a tax-free year, and it's not going to fix any of the country's problems, according to L'Opinion. Now, Le Figaro says, despite this increase in taxes, the deficit is also going to increase by 10 billion euros. And why is that? Well, that's because the government is continuing to spend a lot. And Le Figaro, in its editorial, really lashes out against the government, which it likens to a bunch of illusionists who are pretending to know how to handle public money. But despite everything, this new budget is going to keep France in a death spiral. More taxes, more spending. All this is going to kill any hope for growth in the years to come.
Okay, well, normally in this situation, we might have some government ministers, junior ministers coming out to support their party. Is that coming out in the papers?
Well, Le Figaro actually says that a lot of people within the Socialist Party are gritting their teeth because of this 2014 budget. It says that a lot of people are liking it to a ball and chain. They're starting to feel a real sense of tax overload. So that's one thing that's causing some divisions within the government. Another thing that's causing divisions within the government are very controversial comments that the Interior Minister made this week. So that's Manuel Valls, and he made very controversial comments about the Roma community. He said that their lifestyle was at odds with French society and they would never integrate, and he called for them to be kicked out of France. Now, yesterday, François Hollande wanted this cabinet meeting to be focused only on the budget, but some ministers they couldn't hold it back, and there were a lot of criticisms that were flying around towards Manuel Valls. For instance, according to an article in Libération, the word fascist was thrown around. So officially the government is being very silent on these comments, but it's starting to get a little uneasy in the government.
A lot of tensions on the inside by the look of it. Well, moving on, the papers have also been looking at what's happening at the UN General Assembly in New York, specifically regarding the Iranians.
That's right. Who is President Hassan Rouhani? That's what a lot of people are wondering here in France. Now, Libération takes a closer look at him because since his election, he's repeated gestures of being open towards the West, but will he manage to do so? The question still remains open.
Okay, and just time for a very, very strange story indeed about some very strange plastic surgery. I'll leave this one to you.
That's right. It's in the Huffington Post. Let's take a look at the photo if we can. This is not the latest internet hoax. This is a real photo that was taken in China. Now, it'll show, hopefully we can see this, a man named, who's his name? Xiao Lan. He's 22 years old, and I don't know if you can see it there, but he has a nose that has grown on his forehead.
Oh my goodness.
Basically, he had a traffic accident, and his nose became infected, and so doctors actually managed to grow a nose, there it is, on his forehead, and they say that pretty soon they'll be able to transplant it back onto where it should be.
I just really don't know what to say about that. Thank you very much for bringing us that and the rest of the French headlines. Florence Villeneuve there with our press review. Time for us to take a short break on Live from Paris, but do stay with us because coming up in sport, we've got the latest on the finale of the America's Cup, and in focus, in the 1980s, the Solidarity movement spearheaded Poland's breakaway from the Soviet Union. A generation later, our correspondents have been finding out why its members are continuing their fight for workers' rights and why not everybody agrees.